2022 has gone by so quickly. Just, you know,
Yeah,
just,
yeah. Well, there's
Okay, we appear to be live on Facebook now. And I'm going to hit record. But I don't understand why. Why it does that. It's on the job, bro. Let me back up. Testing. Testing 1, 2, 3. Chris, I have a technical difficulty.
That was the second one. You gotta get out of Facebook probably, or turn your Facebook volume off. Where do you have Facebook up?
Oh, I get it. It's this.
Just close out. Just exit out.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Get back now.
Got it. We're good.
all right. Okay. We are good. We are good enough.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Well, good afternoon. I'd like to open this meeting of the Finance Administration Committee on December 14th. Meeting to start at 3, technical delays notwithstanding. Present today for this committee meeting, myself, David Lowe, as chair, City Councilor, City Council President, Ruth Causey.
here.
We have Mayor Chaz Jones via phone or so on. He's phoning in remotely. Chaz, are you here?
I am.
Very good, thank you. So we have 3 of our committee members. Ruth Post is our city recorder, Mike Merzinski as our director of finance, and city manager Chris Workman. We have really just one item of business to attend to after we talk about the minutes. So do we have a Councilor Causey and Mayor Jones, do we have consensus on the minutes? Do we have anything we want to change?
I make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
And I'll second that.
I'll second that. Okay.
Nope. I'll defer to the mayor. So motion by Councilor Causey, second by Mayor Jones, and all in favor? Aye.
I
And presumably aye. Jess, aye. They'll be coming.
That's fine. Go to Albany.
Mayor Jones is on his en route via Amtrak, and so I think he'll be fine. So we have one item of business today to talk about, the transient lodging tax funding allocation, and the summary has been prepared by our director of finance, and he's nicely outlined it as to the fact that we are now in the third step of a process where we are now looking to make a recommendation to the city council an allocation of funds that we've received specifically for tourism. I do have a question about this, but would you mind just covering how we do this?
Sure.
From your perspective.
This is very similar to the social services grants that we just completed about a month and a half ago. We put together an RFP. Well, first, council goes ahead and they approve the budget. We have $5,000 available. City policy is 50% stays in-house, so we have a 2,500 that is available for whoever applies for it. So the first thing we do is we, after the approval, we go out with an RFP. Usually want to put them out for at least 4 weeks to give people the time to work on them. We got 2 responses back on towards the end of the month last month, and so we put together the memo. We read through and make sure they were in compliance, and this is where we are. We're at the third step. The finance committee will make a decision on if this is okay or if we're going to go in a different direction.
Okay. Thank you. So my question is that we have $2,500 that we use in house. So we don't allocate that now. Where does it go, and how does it accrue, and what do we do with it?
Well, a lot of it we probably already spent with Chris. Chris does a lot of economic development type things for the city. So, I mean, a lot of that, we could say it's already been spent, or we're going to use it in one fashion or another for, some kind of function of, we can say, hey, we put it there, we put it there. So, I mean, it's 2,500, not much you really do with that. I mean, I know the 2 people that are putting in for it have specific uses. The city can use as it sees fit. And so that's kind of how we approach it.
Question, do the applicants know how much is available when they apply?
I believe they did. I believe nobody asked the question, but they knew it wasn't a whole bunch at this time until we get everything going with the state is now doing collections for us, and if there's anything else that'll come in that has not been earmarked, and so we don't have no idea how much is coming in. So they had an idea there was a small amount. They just
Less than last time.
yeah, and they just wanted to get in. They know it's going to be there, but they're looking into the future, just as I'm sure we are too.
Okay.
And so this $5,000, this is what the county gives us every year. And then, if I recall, we have a resolution, don't we? Or the council has taken steps to now implement this for tax lodging purposes within the city. Could you just remind me or remind
Boy,
for the record?
yeah, that'll be the TLT funding we just put together and sent to the state.
Okay,
Is that the one that you're?
that's the one
thinking
I'm
of?
referring to, because this will be larger though going forward. won't it?
Right,
Yeah.
the 2 applicants, I believe, knew that we have a minute amount right now, but like I said, they're looking into the future. This is the first time we've done it. I mean, just like the social service grants,
Right.
we're getting a process, we're building processes, which is a good thing.
Okay, good. Sort of mention these things for the record and for the audience that may be out there to just to help people understand.
Nope, no worries. That's great.
Okay, so in terms of accounting for tourism, so if someone wanted to know, well, gee, we've set aside this money for tourism, in the accounting records, would we be able to bring that up and say, this is everything that we have spent? Here's the part that we've given as grants.
Yes.
Here's, like you said, Chris, maybe you spent some.
Yes, we have 2 distinct spots where the money comes in and where the money goes out.
Okay.
And so, yes, we'll be able to see that.
Okay.
And when does the money come in?
We already received the money, believe it or not. Benton County sent us the money back in maybe August, something
So
like
it just comes in annual.
Comes in one time, right? We get a check one time.
And then I think last year it was higher because we actually had 2 years.
Yeah, because I saw that. I did ask Chris what happened there. He says they did not spend it the year before. So, yeah, we had 10,000 last year.
Okay.
That's why, if you see the spreadsheet, that's why you see such a big amount. But trust me, I asked that question when I saw it too.
Right, okay. Good. And so the two organizations that are requesting a total of 5,500, but as you said, we only really have a total of 2,500 to allocate. So I think moving into the actual applications themselves, we have Philomath Frolic and Rodeo, and the Philomath Area Chamber of Commerce has both applied.
Right.
Philomath Frolic and Rodeo, we requested 2,500, and the Chamber of Commerce 3,000. The application itself is helpful because it describes what they're going to use the money for, what they've done with money if it's been allocated in the past, which it was, and then meeting our city priorities, including equity, inclusion, diversity, and also that they're affirming they're good stewards of money and our environment.
Yep.
So one thing I did notice though, with the policy, Philomath Frolic does not answer the question if it's a 501c3, and
Yeah,
Chamber says they are not. And
they're not a 501c3, which is a basic nonprofit.
Right,
If I remember right, the Frolic is a 501c4, which is it's a basic, but they go up one step and they as I told Chris, the way I looked at it, they can get political, whereas the 501c cannot. It's the same structure. They're both nonprofit and tax exempt.
Mhm.
So that, and I think we're going to rewrite the policy just so we get that. If we get that, they're still nonprofit and tax exempt.
Right.
That's the big thing. We don't want to give it to a private industry. We want it there. So that's the thing. And then you'll see the same thing happen with the the next applicant. They're a 501c6, I believe,
okay,
which is higher up on the string. Chris may be able to talk to that one. I can't remember what the 501c6 was, but I know what the 4 was because Chris and I talked to him length about that. But they're both non-tax, they're non-tax, tax exempt and nonprofits.
Right.
They're both, that's the basics. That's is looking for. I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but that's what basic is.
and the 501c section is part of the IRS code, and
Mhm.
those are all gradations of
Nonprofit.
profits.
Yes,
Nonprofit.
yes.
Most familiar with, I think most people, is a 501c3, and that's what I was splashing to. But
Right.
you're And as agenda summary memo says, it caps.
Yeah.
Chris has his hand raised.
Oh,
Chris?
Yeah, so just real quick, the 501c3 in very layman's terms is the 501c3 is to serve a general public, versus a 501c6 is organized to serve its membership. So the Chamber of Commerce is a membership serving organization. A 501c3 would be the public, and a 501c4 is organization they're given freedom to take part in any type of lobbying or electioneering, which is different than the 501c3. Still have to serve the public, but they can be more involved in lobbying and election, supporting candidates, that sort of thing.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. The reason I brought it up specifically is that the applications themselves specifically identify the C3, 501c3. So that's the intent of the council. And
yeah, and I will note the policy that was approved by the council, the actual resolution passed, establishing this TLT grant program, does just make reference to the requirement to be a nonprofit. It doesn't specify 501c3 in the actual policy. The 501c3 language was added to the application. So what we'll need to do, as Mike indicated, we'll just need to update the application to remove that 501c3 requirement and just use the more general term nonprofit.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mhm.
Councilor Kazi.
Yes, I would like to make a motion to increase the funding for the Frolic and Rodeo to $2,000 and decrease the funding for the Chamber of Commerce to $500. And then the reason I say this is I am the liaison to the Frolic and Rodeo, but I view that chambers simply don't have a lot of money to work with. I view the Chamber of Commerce is an established organization that is supported by its members and, charges the members for lunch when they attend meetings. And, it's an ongoing established organization. I'm sure there are instances, I'm sure they can make good use of this money, but the Frolic and Rodeo in the last year, as we all know, underwent a significant fire, which damaged the stands. And the Frolic and Rodeo also has a tremendous reach for the community. As you know, it's held for 3 days in July. Last July, there were 943 people who attended on Thursday, 2,057 on Friday, and 2,041 on Saturdays. And I think both of those were basically sellouts. There were standing room only tickets sold for Friday and Saturday. There were over 1,000 of those sold. So, and interestingly enough, there were 1,449 tickets sold outside of a 50-mile radius, including people in California, Arizona, Florida, Idaho, North Carolina, Washington, Wisconsin, Texas, Utah, and 7 from Great Britain. So, I know that for people who are not involved in the rodeo or have never been to the rodeo, it's kind of a ho-hum, oh well, whatever. But it really is a big deal for this community. And I think it's going to become a bigger deal when the Frolic and Rodeo rebuild that stadium. They're going to increase the capacity. And I also believe that when the Lebanon RV Park is complete, that also going to increase attendance for it. So the Frolic and Rodeo, whether you're into it or not, it really does bring a lot of money into the community. And I think under the circumstances, given what they went through in the last year, I think it's entirely appropriate to allocate more funds to the Frolic and Rodeo than to the Chamber of Commerce.
Could I just clarify, Councilor Kazi, the dollar amounts again?
Yes, please, that would be very
So
helpful.
we have $2,500 to work with according to what Mike has given us. So are you proposing we give more than that, or?
No,
No,
I'm
she's
proposing 2,000 to the rodeo, 500
Right,
to,
just reallocated it.
Okay, great. I thought I heard 3,000 in there somewhere earlier, but
Okay, so your
that
motion
was
is to
probably
allocate,
yeah.
state,
Just to
your
Okay.
motion is to allocate $2,000 to the Frolic and Rodeo Association and $500 to the Philomath Chamber.
correct,
All righty.
but I don't have a second.
Well, it's a motion on the floor. Mr. Mayor, are you hearing this? Well, I will second the motion, but Mr. Mayor, are you hearing this?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can hear. One question I had was, I didn't hear part of the earlier conversation. Is the total we have available 2,500, and so the total that would go to the chamber 500, and the total that would go to the Frolic and Rodeo 2,000? Is that what I'm hearing? Question mark.
Yes,
Correct.
right. We further discussion? Gaz, do you have any thoughts? I think Councillor Kazi has outlined the position eloquently.
Sorry. Sorry, I'm not in a good spot right here, but I didn't actually hear the answer to that question that I asked.
Oh, the answer is yes.
So we
2,000,
only,
2,000 to the Frolic and 500 to the Chamber of Commerce.
and that would be the total amount that would go.
That's
Because
all.
we only-
That's all we have is 2,500.
Got it. So what I was gonna say, I guess I think it's really important that we consider. Sorry.
The train's there. Oh, Lordy.
He has silenced his,
Yeah.
unless we all want to listen to the Amtrak train ride.
This is an interesting meeting. I just want to, until the mayor comes back on, I just want to say that, Councilor Kazi, what you've outlined, and I think it's really important that the Frolic has the potential of bringing in more people from outside that know about its history, know that this is an annual affair that really is, I think it's highly regarded in terms of rodeo circuit. People from Great Britain are coming. I say jolly good. But I mean, it's very persuasive. I think the chamber does very good work too. But the Sip and Stroll is probably more of a local affair, and I know people in Great Britain would hear about it necessarily, or in the East Coast. So I'm persuaded by your arguments in that, which I.
You know, something else that you may not be aware of, and probably not aware of, but there's really a push within the rodeo and the rodeo board to initiate more activities for youth rodeo, because there is not, at the top level of competition, there is not a youth rodeo in the state.
Yeah.
So as the board moves forward and promotes that and does whatever they need to do to accommodate it, it's going to become even a more significant
That's good.
location for rodeo.
Well, then I think just looking at the remarks, the money that was used last year that we granted them, it was for the purpose of improving accessibility, which very much align with what we want to do, and definitely for folks that are going to visit this area and be in tours. It's a part of a welcoming approach. I think that some of those signals.
Mayor Jones is back online now,
Okay,
I mean, he's been online the whole time. He's unsilenced.
he's on sense. Mayor, do you want to weigh in the discussion?
Yeah, I was going to just mention that. So I think that the potential impact of the Frolic, I agree with everything that was said to some degree. I believe that the potential impact of the Frolic is much larger than the Sip and Stroll, but I also think that the financial need from the Chamber of Commerce is probably greater than that of the deficit that the Frolic and Rodeo are experiencing. So I think that $1,000 or $2,000 is extremely impactful to the Chamber of Commerce, whereas I'm not so certain that that's the case for the Frolic and Rodeo. So that's a concern of mine. I think it's pretty important to support the Chamber, and I know that they've been struggling to find support. That's my perspective.
Mayor, does the fact that the chamber is a membership organization as opposed to the way that the Frolic set up make a difference at all in your thinking?
No, because I think that the membership isn't, I know that people have left membership or people are reluctant to join because they just don't understand the value of membership. And so I think that that's even more indicative of the need that the chamber has. And, you know, if we were to lose the chamber, I think that would be a very bad thing for the organization or for the city. So that's just my concern. I'd love to hear what Chris thinks about the chamber and its role versus and the need as well.
Chris, are you there?
Yeah, no, I agree with the mayor on the importance of the Chamber of Commerce. I think part of the question here, you know, we used to support the chamber by providing free office space, and we felt, I think, kind of justified and felt good about supporting the chamber in that way. Since that's gone away, we're not really providing any type of real financial assistance to the chamber, although, you know, I just paid our $300 membership. That the city is a member of the chamber. We pay $300 in dues, and I think the police department used to pay separate. I paid they're included in that $300 now as well. So we do support the chamber as a member. I guess my thought is if we wanted to find funding to support their chamber for their ongoing expenses, supporting the director's salary, supporting, you know, specific events, supporting their rent or stuff like that, maybe different. I think the transient lodging tax program, I think we're trying to be specific to the tourism related activities that they're doing, which again, they do serve as the, you know, some of those are intermingled, right? They do serve as kind of our de facto visitor center. They have the brochures out front. I don't think they have the regular kind of visitor business hours that they used to hold, but they do manage and maintain that area out in front of their office at Timbertown with all the brochures and informational pamphlets and whatnot. So I definitely want to highlight that. I think it's a very important role that they do, and without funding, they don't have a director to do those things, right? So, you know, it's a different tourism related activity than what the Frolic does. So Frolic's got kind of the one big activity, as Councilor Causey said, they're trying to add additional events, youth rodeo types of events that are going to draw people throughout the rest of the summer as well. But, you know, that's kind of more an event based one versus the chamber, which is more of a ongoing support for visitors coming into the area, not necessarily for an event, but people just passing through that happen to stop in at a visitor center. So I see support for both of those. I'm not going to make a statement one way or another on the funding, but I will just say that I think both organizations are valuable for the transient lodging tax funding. So I'm appreciative of this program. I think any money received from either organization will be useful and put to good use.
So, Mayor, you made a comment about, it kind of alluded to if the chamber didn't exist or something like that. Is that, are we at that point, or is that just sort of an extreme thing if we didn't have it? I haven't heard that we were necessarily in danger of losing the chamber.
And I have no reason to think that is. I just realized that, you know, the chamber is essentially a single person. If that single person decided that they weren't interested in doing this work, then we would have a struggle. So I just think it's important that we illustrate that the chamber is important to the city, that we value them. I would be concerned that if we were to give 1/5 of the amount or 1/4 of an amount to the chamber, that they may feel unsupported. So that's one of my big concerns.
I do know that the money that we gave them last year, apparently they weren't able to use in full, just because of timing, I guess, and change of personnel. So I guess that money may still be with the chamber and has not actually been applied yet. I'm not sure in the process of awarding money if we can have stipulations that would say, you know, we gave you money last year, so you need to take care of what we gave you. I think their idea of having a visitor information brochure in rack, what they're looking for the funds, makes sense. I don't know how much money that entails. They're requesting 3,000, but again, we're not going to be able to give anywhere near that.
But I wonder if their request is just based on last year's allocation.
I
I would
wonder
assume that.
too. On the other hand, the Frolic got $7,000 last year. Chamber got 3,000. But the Frolic has had, as you mentioned, the fire, and the request for the funds for them is to continue to sort of replace items and to restore things from that fire, as well as take care of some water issues. And water's back in the table, is a concern again for some people. Water lines. Well, gosh, so now we have a very, I think, a good persuasive argument from the mayor. So, so the outstanding motion is $2,000 for the Frolic, $500 for the chamber. We need to vote on that. Do we want to discuss any more about that?
I would like to ask the mayor if he feels comfortable with any type of disproportionate allocation, or he wants the
Yeah, being reminded that we did a disproportionate allocation last year, I think that if we did $1,000 to the chamber and 1,500, I think that would be more. That would seem a little bit better, but that's my thought.
Another possibility would be if, we're just talking about the 2,500 we have to allocate. If there was strong feeling that we should give more to the Frolic outside of this particular act, I mean, we could bring that back as a recommendation to council to have a conversation just about that. Of course, then you got to figure out where it's coming from in the
You do have to do that.
the accounting, but I mean, that's another option, because all we're doing here is recommending to the council thoughts for how they might want to act. So that could be another option. But possibly, I mean, if we went to the $1,500 for Frolic and 1,000 for the chamber, is that palatable?
yes,
Councilor Causey?
yeah, I think so. I think the Frolic and Rodeo is certainly going to be looking for additional support from the city as they move forward. So I'm sure this won't be our only opportunity to allocate funds to them.
Right, yeah, okay, so do we need to modify?
Would you like to modify your original motion?
Yes, I will modify it to 1,500 for the Frolic and 1,000 for the Chamber of Commerce.
I'll second that.
Okay. Motion by Councilor Causey, second by Mayor Jones. If there's any more discussion, I don't think we need it. So all in favor of the motion? Aye.
I'm fine. I was just
Okay.
looking at the door. I'm sorry.
All right, so all in favor of that? All right. Well, thank you.
Apologies. I was distracted by the
One of those distractions. Okay, Councilor Causey, Mayor Jones, is there anything else that you'd like to bring before the committee?
Well, only to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, and Happy Holidays.
Really.
May you be healthy.
Thank you.
Give you an update on the audit.
Oh, yeah.
Great, they're leaving. I'm expecting the financial report from the auditor any day now. So hopefully we'll be done before the end of the year. So we can move it. I'm already shifting into budget. So that's a good news. It's always good to have them this early, because I told them I did not want to work on them on Christmas Day. So I've done that for too many years. I've had enough of it. So I think I got them going. They've kept us busy the last 3 weeks, and we're at the point where we're almost ready. We're almost done.
Good.
So just thought I'd bring that up to everybody.
That's good news. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
What is the status of the compensation survey?
Oh, boy. I would defer that one to Chris. I know Chelsea's working on it quite a bit. There's a lot. I see a lot of email traffic between her and the consultant. Where they are with it, I don't. I would have to either defer to Chris or Chelsea. So,
Chris, can you comment? Are you there?
Yeah, I think our target was to have that done by the end of the year. We may spill over to the first or second week of January, but they're well underway. They've been working, as Mike said, pretty consistent with Chelsea, almost on a daily or every other day basis on swapping information back and forth. So the work's well underway, and expect, by no later than the middle of January to have that wrapped up in our hands. Once we get that, we provide a copy to the unions as we start union negotiations, and those will take place probably that first to middle of February.
Okay. Is it presented to the council?
Yes, the council will be given a copy of it. We've actually lined up new representation to represent the city. We've got a new attorney on board, and so we'll be looking to schedule probably that February city council meeting for the city's new labor attorney to come and meet with the city council and talk through negotiating process, talk through wants for the council, those types of things before we start any type of negotiations with the unions. We'll want to have that meeting first and make sure that we've set clear expectations with our attorney and with city staff on where we'd like to see those negotiations go. Again, we'll know a lot more once we get the survey back, when we're talking about salaries and benefits and kind of the direction we're headed. We'll have a lot more discussion once we get the survey results back.
Okay.
Chris, is it possible, or is there any reason that we should consider reviewing that salary survey, a draft of it, in an executive session before we hand it over to a union so that we can accept it before we do that?
Well, once we've paid for it and gotten it, it's public record, so there's really not a point in withholding it.
I didn't know if there was a reason that we might want to request additional information before we accept it in its final form.
Let me talk to the attorney about that and see if it comes back in executive session and under discussion. Might be protected under, from a records request of some sort, but I'm not sure it would be. Let me check on that. And if so, again, we could have a discussion with the attorney under executive session. We've got clear cause for an executive session with union negotiations. That's clearly an allowable executive session topic. Let me see what that might look like. That might be a executive session, like a 5:30 executive session in February before our regular meeting. Let me see what I can line up there.
Chris,
It just seems like something we might want to think about, but yeah.
Chris, the survey includes our police officers, is that correct?
Yes, all employees.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
I have one final comment.
Okay,
I spoke a little to this on Monday night, but just want to express sincere appreciation to Councilor Lowe for his time, not only on the council, but also in leading this committee. Finance and Admin Committee, I think, is the committee that people are least excited about. It's not public works, it's not police, it's just finance and administrative tasks. But you've had to tackle and lead the committee and the council through some difficult utility rate increases, some decreases, which has been nice, personnel issues, and the social service funding is, you always have more money asked for than what you have to provide, so those always are tricky. And I just appreciate Councilor Lowe's leadership. I think he's been a true and staunch representative of the people of Philomath, and the work that he's done to help Philomath residents has really been unparalleled in the last, 6 years on the budget committee, Councilor Lowe, and 6 years on the council now. So that's 12 years of dedication to residents of Philomath. And I just felt like can't say thank you enough. Appreciation. Elections are what elections are, and it was tough that the elections were so close, and we'll be really sad to lose you on the council and to lose your leadership on this committee. So thank you for all that you've done. One final time for me, from staff standpoint, you've been a great supporter of me and of my staff. You've always been very respectful of our finance director and our finance employees, of Ruth and the city recorder. You've been respectful of our time on your requests and information gathering. And I just, if I could have a whole council full of you, the city would be in a great place. So thank you again, from all sincerity, from the city manager, for your efforts over the last 12 years. Can't thank you enough. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before I adjourn, I'd just like to say a few things too. I had thought about saying something at council meeting on Monday, but it just seemed that the flow of we were going, it felt that I chose not to do that. But I really appreciate your words, Chris. I've felt since I've basically started volunteering in public service in this way, it's kind of funny to think about, because I never really saw myself as being in a position where I'd be, I guess, politicians or politics and being involved this way. So it's been a tremendous learning experience, very, very valuable, and much better appreciation for how a municipality like ours runs, or a community that, there's government at all levels, but this truly is a way that we as a community can kind of come together and promote a society that really is beneficial for all of us. And I just feel very, at times I felt quite inadequate at times, I've got to say, with other people. But what I've really appreciated from our discussions as a council is the perspective of everybody that's on the council. And I certainly have learned from people. I've been persuaded by arguments. I've been dissuaded by arguments. I've felt more supportive of some ideas and less of others, but I've always tried to see both sides of the coin and the argument and the rationale. But the ultimate touchstone for me has been what is best for the city as a whole. I think I've experienced individual groups that feel that some change is coming and it doesn't work to their advantage, are very concerned about that and express themselves very well. But if we took that position with everybody, we really couldn't benefit the city and grow and have a community that serves everyone, even though we probably all have to compromise a little bit for the good of the whole. So I've really appreciated it. I think I want to compliment everyone on the city staff. I really am so impressed with the professionalism, certainly of you, Ruth, the city recorder. I'm kind of amazed at how you are able to just do your jobs in the face of all sorts of things that go haywire, like technology or whatever people. But I think the counsel that I've received from the city staff has been exceptional. I don't think any of it as counselors could do the job that we do without feeling and understanding that the information we're getting is the best information that can be provided, and honestly and with as much credibility as possible. We don't all know we don't know the true outcome of something in a moment. Maybe we learn about unintended consequences and things down the road, but in the moment, every one of us, every action I've been involved with, and I've seen this city staff be involved with, has been for the good of the community as best we can see it at that time it's made. Things happen, but then when they do, I see city staff and the council doing the best they can to work with that new set of circumstances and going forward. I think that's really important. So anyway, I'm going to draw to a close. I really want to, Councilor Kazi's here. I really want to thank you for your support, Councilor Kazi. Mayor Jones, I think you're doing a phenomenal job. I really admire your dedication to the city, your vision that you have, the things that you would like to promote in the city. And I think that was definitely appreciated by the citizens and reflected in the vote for you as mayor. So I think just we've got a few more good years going forward here. So anyway, I'd just like to thank everybody. And with that, I adjourn the meeting. Always wanted to do that.
Please feel free to take your name, please.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. Really, really appreciate all your words and your leadership and yeah, your dedication to the city. We will miss you for sure, but we know that we will see you. We'll see you around for sure.
Well, I'll be around. I'll be bugging people.
I know there were some committee.
That's what I'm gonna say, there's budget.
Yeah.